January 11, 1944. 28,000 feet above Bremen. The sky is a hard, brittle blue. A formation of B-17s lumbers east, contrails streaming like torn silk. Below, silver specks climb. Messerschmitt Bf 109Gs of Jagdgeschwader 11. Their pilots grin beneath oxygen masks. American escorts turn back at the German border, fuel gauges kissing empty. Easy pickings. Then a new shape streaks past. A sleek, razor-nosed fighter with bubble canopy and invasion stripes. North American P-51B Mustang. The Germans laugh over the radio. Look, the little pony with the big mouth. Captain James Howard, alone in his P-51, rolls inverted. Throttle firewall. The Merlin howls. He dives through the 109s at 450 mar. Cannons blink. One Messerschmitt folds, spinning down in flame. The laughter dies. The air war over Europe had become a slaughter by late 1943. The U.S. 8th Air Force launched its first unescorted daylight raid on Germany in July. 1942 losses were sustainable then, 4% per mission. By October, the Schweinfurt-Regensburg disaster bled the force white. 60 B-17s lost in a single day. 600 crewmen gone. The Luftwaffe ruled the sky between the Rhine and Berlin. Oberstleutnant Egon Mayer's Jagdgeschwader II perfected head-on attacks, raking bomber boxes at 400 mph closing speed. Focke-Wulf 190s with 30mm center cannon shredded formations from below. Pilots like Walter Nowotny claimed 10 victories in a morning. American escorts, the P-47 Thunderbolt and P-38 Lightning, could reach only to the Ruhr. Drop tanks were crude, 75-gallon paper belly tanks that crumpled on release. Beyond Essen, the bombers flew naked. Radio calls crackled with panic. Bandits, 6 o'clock high. Where the hell are the little friends? In Washington, General Hap Arnold demanded a fighter that could go to Berlin and back. North American Aviation had delivered the P-51 prototype in October 1940, 117 days from contract to first flight. Early Allison engines wheezed above 15,000 feet. The airframe, though, was magic. Laminar flow wings, flush riveted skin, a drag coefficient lower than a Spitfire. The breakthrough came from Britain. Rolls-Royce test pilot Ronald Harker flew a P-51A in July 1942 and cabled. Duxford, Fit Merlin 61, will outperform everything. North American grafted the Packard-built Merlin VB-1650-3 onto the airframe. Supercharger impellers spun faster. Manifold pressure climbed to 61 inches. Power jumped from 1,200 to 1,190 horsepower. The P-51B rolled off the Inglewood line in May 1943. Range with two 75-gallon drop tanks, 850 miles. Combat radius to Berlin, 475 nautical miles. Enough to loiter, fight, and return. The bubble canopy of the P-51D, introduced later, gave 360-degree vision. 650 caliber Brownings in the wings fired 850 rounds per minute each. Luftwaffe intelligence dismissed the reports. A captured P-51 manual translated in August 1943 called it promising but unproven. Experten like Adolf Galland assumed the Allison engine persisted. They had never seen a Mustang above 20,000 feet. By December, the 354th Fighter Group arrived in England, the first Mustang unit. Pilots trained over East Anglia, chasing contrails at 400 knots. Ground crews bolted on 1 to 10-gallon tanks. The 8th Air Force scheduled the P-51's combat debut for March 1944. Berlin was the target. The Luftwaffe waited, confident. Major James Howard, 354th Fighter Group, had flown P-40s in China with the Flying Tigers. He knew the taste of fear at 400 Seitmard. On January 11, 1944, alone against 30 Luftwaffe fighters, he felt it again. Oxygen mask fogged. Gloves slick. The Mustang's cockpit smelled of glycol and cordite. Across the sky, Lieutenant Heinz Knocke of JG-11 banked his 109G6, 23 kills on his rudder. He saw the lone P-51 and laughed into the microphone. Ein Spielzeug, a toy. His wingman, Oberfeldwebel Müller, joined the chase. They expected the American to dive away. Howard rolled instead. The Merlin screamed. G-forces pinned him to the seat. Canuck's grin vanished as the Mustang closed from 500 yards to 200 in seconds. Tracers stitched the 109's fuselage. Miller's engine coughed black smoke. Howard's guns clicked empty. He broke off. Fuel for home. Back at Boxted, Howard's knees shook on the tarmac. Canuck nursed a hold radiator to Jever. Neither man laughed again. The P-51 turned Escort into a fence. Before March 1944, P-47s peeled off at 7° east longitude. B-17 gunners counted minutes to the next attack. The Mustang flew 1,750 miles total, enough to shepherd bombers to Berlin, strafe the deck on the way out, and duel any interceptor that rose. Pilots called it the long-legged bastard. Drop tanks gave 3.5 hours over enemy territory. A swarm of 4 109s burned fuel in 20 minutes of combat. The Mustang could orbit, climb, and dictate terms. Luftwaffe controllers scrambled at 300 miles warning. Mustangs arrived before wheels were chalked. Technological angle, laminar flow, and pressurized tanks. North American's wind tunnel shaved 0.03 off the drag coefficient. Flush rivets and puttied seams cut friction. The Merlin's two-stage supercharger maintained sea-level power at 25,000 feet. Pressurized 110-gallon tanks, steel, not paper, survived 9 G-pulls. Leadership, angle. Doolittle's directive general, Jimmy Doolittle, took 8th Air Force Command in January 1944. His order, the fighters are free to pursue the Hun. No more leash to the bombers. Mustangs hunted in pairs, 5,000 feet above the stream. The sky belonged to the hunter now, March 4, 1944, 13:15 hours. Boxted Airfield, Essex. The 357th Fighter Group taxis in 54 P-51Bs. Engines tick in the cold. Captain Charles Chuck Yeager, 21, leads yellow flight. His Mustang, Glamorous Glen, gleams with fresh olive drab. Ground crews top off 110-gallon wing tanks, 220 gallons external, 269 internal. Enough for 1,800 miles. Target, Berlin. Distance, 475 nautical miles. The Big B, no American fighter has escorted there and returned. Briefing maps show flak corridors thick as ink. Intelligence predicts 300 Luftwaffe day fighters. At 13:42, the first Mustang lifts. Yeager's flight climbs to 25,000 feet over the North Sea. Oxygen masks hiss. The formation joins 700 B-17s and B-24s of the 1st and 3rd Air Divisions. Contrails braid the sky. Over the Dutch coast, P-47s peel off. Radio silence. The Mustangs press on alone. At 14:30, radar at Jever picks up the stream. Oberstleutnant Hans Ehlers scrambles JG-1, 40 Bf-109G 6-hits, and FW-190A 8s. They climb to 28,000 feet, sun at their backs. Yeager spots them first. Silver crosses against cobalt. Yellow leader, bandits, 12 o'clock high, 30+, throttles forward. Drop tanks jettison with hollow clangs. The Mustangs surge to 420 through 40 T. Emprad indicated, 148, 148 hours. 28,000 feet south of Hanover. Yeager rolls left, sun flashing off the canopy. His wingman, Lieutenant James Browning, slots in tight. The 109s dive head-on, 4 abreast, cannons winking orange. Yeager holds fire until 300 yards. His 650s roar. Tracers converge on the lead Messerschmitt. The canopy shatters. The pilot, Lieutenant Gerhard Vogt, slumps forward. The 109 pitches down, trailing glycol. Browning breaks right, chasing a second 109. The German yanks into a climbing spiral. Browning matches it, Merlin screaming at 67 inches. The 109 stalls first. Browning's burst rips the tail. The Messerschmitt spins, canopy gone, pilot tumbling into cloud. Below, the bomber stream presses on. B-17 gunners watch the dogfight bloom like fireworks. One radio call, "Little friends are tearing them apart. Ehlers, Schwarm, scatters." Fuel starvation bites. A 109 attempts a landing approach at Lüneburg. Jaeger dives from 10,000 feet, overtakes at 500 millimeters, fires a 2-second burst. The 109 explodes on the runway. By 1520, the Mustangs reform above the bombers. 12 Luftwaffe fighters down. 0 P-51 losses. Jaeger's guns click empty. He waggles wings, points west. The formation turns for home. Berlin's flak still awaits, but the day fighters are gone. March 5th, 1944. Dawn debrief at Boxted. Jaeger's score sheet lists 3 confirmed. Browning claims 2. The 357th tallies 12 kills total. 8 Bf-109s, 4 FW-190s. Luftwaffe records confirm 10 pilots lost, 6 wounded. JG-1's morning strength drops from 60 to 48 serviceable aircraft. Over the next week, the 8th Air Force flies Berlin 3 more times. Mustang losses 4. Luftwaffe dayfighter claims plummet. Pilots refuse scrambles. Oberst Josef Priller radios Berlin. The Amis have a new fighter. Faster, higher, longer legs. We cannot catch them. By April, 600 P-51s patrol the Reich. Experten like Galland order defensive circles at 30,000 feet. Fuel shortages ground half the fleet. A single Mustang group, the 4th Fighter Group, claims 153 kills in March alone. Bomber crews nickname the P-51 Guardian Angel. Abort rates fall from 18% to 4%. April-July 1944. The sky empties. The Luftwaffe shifts to night fighters. Day sorties drop 60%. Oil refineries at Ploiești and Merseburg burn unchecked. B-17s reach 90% target accuracy. Synthetic fuel plants at Leuna produce 12,000 tons monthly in March. By July, 2,000 Mustang pilots hunt trains, airfields, convoys. The 354th Fighter Group strafes 106 locomotives in 1 week. Jagdwaffe pilots fly 1.2 sorties per day in January, 0.4 by June. Galland begs Hitler for jet priority. The Me-262 arrives too late, too few. Total P-51 claims by VE Day 4,150 aircraft destroyed in air, 4,131 on ground. 8th Air Force loses 2,200 bombers in 1943. 450 in 1944. The air umbrella holds. D-Day beaches see no Luftwaffe overhead. Production lines in Inglewood and Dallas deliver 15,000 Mustangs. Each costs $51,000, half a B-17. The war in Europe ends 11 months after Berlin's first escort. Historians later calculate the P-51 shortens the war by 6 months, saves 150,000 Allied lives. May 8, 1945. A silent airfield near Munich. The runways are cracked, weeds pushing through concrete. A lone P-51B sits propped on its nose, propeller bent like a broken wing. Nearby, a Bf-109 G-14 lies belly up, swastika faded to gray. No engines turn, no guns fire. Chuck Yeager, now a major with 23 kills, walks the flight line one last time. He runs a gloved hand along the Mustang's flank, scratches from flak, patches over bullet holes. The cockpit smells of old leather and spent oil. Across the Reich, 11,000 Luftwaffe fighters rust in fields. Their pilots, once lords of the sky, walk home in patched uniforms, heads down. The laughter of January is a ghost. The P-51 did not win the war alone, but it cleared the path. Bombers flew free. Factories fell. Armies advanced without shadow from above. In the balance of steel and fuel, a single aircraft tipped the scale. Somewhere, a child in Cologne finds a spent .50 caliber casing. He rolls it between fingers, unaware it once flew faster than sound. The sky, once a battlefield, is simply sky again.